Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. Today I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a long time, a very long time. I'm going to be drawing a cartoon strip. Yes, thank you. Yes, all right, yes, okay. Thank you. But you've already done loads of cartoon strips. I've seen your cartoon strips, I hear you say. And you'd be right, I've done plenty. I've done all sorts, some of my own, and I've also done some by others. I've got a whole playlist for which there's a link in the description below of cartoons I drew for, well, other cartoon strips, well-known cartoon strips. I think it ran under the heading of What If I Drew ... and then the name of the cartoon strip. And on there I've done things like Hagar the Horrible, BC, Wizard of Id, Handicap, Asterix the Gaul. I did Calvin and Hobbes, and most recently I think I did The Far Side, and I'm due to do another. Bit of a toss-up there, not too sure. It may very well be either Doonesbury or maybe Biddle Bailey. We know I've got thoughts on Biddle Bailey, but we'll go into that later. But what cartoon strip am I going to be drawing if I'm not doing them? Well, I'm going to be drawing these, or should I say those. I did 2 books of them. This was a cartoon strip called Adam and Eve that I ran thrice weekly on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that kind of thing. And I drew it for quite a few years, right up until its demise. And I'll explain what happened there a little later in the video. Okay, so enough of me waffling, let's get down to it. And in this video, I'm going to explain why I chose the format that I chose for the comic strip. I'll talk about the characters, its background, running themes, and as I promised, why I stopped it. Right, let's get to it, shall we? Right, here we go. Time to buckle up as I take you through the process of how I drew this comic strip. First off, you'll notice I've drawn it 3 panels, one on top of the other, and not the traditional way of 1, 2, 3, or 4 in a row. I drew it this way because reading a comic strip online is a bit difficult when it's produced in the traditional fashion. You are forced to pinch the comic to enlarge it, thus ruining the immersive process of viewing the strip as a whole. But viewing my cartoon in the format that I'd chosen enabled you to view it as a whole. No pinching, no enlarging. It also gave me a lot more space to play with, especially when it came to word balloon placement. It also fitted in very well with the 3 big social media sites of Facebook, Twitter as it was then, and Instagram. I also fielded it on Webtoons, where I think I published around about 130 odd episodes. And if you ever read Adam and Eve, odd is very much what these little eccentrics were all about. So what was Adam and Eve about? And why these 2 Old Testament stalwarts? Well, to start with, Adam and Eve was not a religious comic strip, although in the first few strips God did appear as a stereotypical large hand in the sky. But I eventually dropped him for fear that the strip would take on religious overtones due to his presence, and that was something I really wasn't looking for. As a matter of fact, I think I must be the only person ever to have fired God for not pulling his weight. God. Steady on, you'll have someone's eye out with them things.
Never mind that. You just watch your lip, okay, buddy?
I don't know about you lot, but I thought you'd have a deeper voice than that.
I'm warning you.
Okay. On with the video it is. Adam and Eve was, in its basest form, just a marriage strip, husband and wife. But because it never ran in any newspapers, I could say things that editors nowadays would balk at publishing. Not horrible stuff, but with today's overly sensitive consumer, the editors just have to be more careful about what they publish. It effectively dealt with the two main characters, Adam and Eve, and what life was like now that the magic had gone out of the relationship. So I guess now would be a good time to meet the characters, not just the main characters, Adam and Eve, but the side characters and the peripheral characters. Adam is a little man with big frustrations who just never seems to learn. He has so many opinions. His problem is keeping them to himself. And Eve? Well, being married to Adam means you need the patience of a saint, the thick skin of a rhino, and the left hook of a prizefighter. She's also the world's worst cook. Everyone seems to think it's only a matter of time before she lands a pot roast on the moon. And the snake. Unlike his Bible counterpart, the snake is more of a link between Adam and Eve. Some would say a referee. He's also a barman, a pocket philosopher, and a quoter of Zen wisdom. The bear. Some would say he's a passive onlooker. Others would say he is an arch manipulator of the simple-minded. Like Adam, for example. Gogol, not Google, Gogol. He's the wise owl who answers any questions you need the answers to. He lives nearly always on a line, and when he's not, and he's walking around in circles, he's said to be buffering and is incapable of answering anything. And then there's the yappy dog. For many, this yappy ball of fur was a fan favourite. Adam detested him and Eve adored him. But no matter what Adam did, the dog just adored him back. Although he was beginning to develop a rather dark side towards the end of the comic's life. Well, my friends, that is the cast. But why did it come to an end? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk a little about the strip's actual creation, now and back then. First off, you will notice I have drawn the scenery in on this strip. In the originals, I used to do all the background work on a computer. It gave the comic a look like I'd never seen published in the papers before, and I really used to enjoy its simple but effective look. But for the sake of this strip, I've drawn the background in. And should I ever start the comic up again, which is a conversation for another day, I would probably draw them this way. What do you think? Do you prefer the hand-drawn scenery or the computer-based background? Leave a comment below as to what you prefer. Over the years, I've moved from a gag-a-day comic to developing stories. And these tales, or the running themes, really help develop the characters and their relationships with each other. Running themes were Adam and his singular inability to catch a fish. I also brought the fish in from time to time to act and join in his many tormentors. Another was the snake reading actual Zen quotes from the Rock of Zen, while the other characters added their own little silly bits at the end. And the snake also doubled up as a marriage guidance counsellor and doyen of all things scientific. A few more long-running themes were Adam's big-ass jokes at Eve's expense, the bear urging Adam on to even greater heights of stupidity just because he could, and it entertained his worrying sense of fun and humour. And of course, the never-ending torture of Adam by that damn yappy dog, as he would call it. But by far, one of my favourite stories, and one that I wanted to actually turn into a regular running theme, was when Adam took over the job as holdy cover for the established newspaper strips of the day. Now, the first one was when he took over from Snoopy on the Peanut strip. And Adam, being Adam, was just being Adam. and I really enjoyed the dynamic of how he interacted with the philosophical innocence of the Peanuts gang. I think I was going to have Doonesbury next and give that the Adam treatment, and I think that would have been a blast. But if I was having so much fun, then why did the comic come to an end? Well, in a word, Facebook stupidity. I know technically that's 2 words, but with the one being synonymous with the other, well, let's just go with it. Basically, Facebook let someone hack me. They even informed me that someone was trying to hack my account, but let them go ahead and do it anyway, without making even the slightest pretense of protecting my accounts. So, once these poor excuses for human life, or oxygen thieves I think is the modern term, had taken control of my accounts, they did or said something so bad that my Facebook and Instagram accounts were shut down completely. Not just Facebook jailed, but shut down totally, wiped off the face of the earth, everything gone. And no matter how much I tried to reason with the tiny, intellectually inept minds at Facebook, they just completely ignored me. All that hard work, gone. There's a link in the description below to a video where I rant unabated into the winds of indifference on the subject. So if you want to see a cartoonist seriously lose his then go take a look and listen to that baby. And so with all my followers gone, with no way of contacting them and letting them know what had happened, or to offer an alternative venue for them to continue enjoying their fix of Adam and Eve, not to mention all the hard work I'd put into building an audience for this strip, just to have it evaporate into the ether. I guess I just lost the will to continue, so I closed the strip down and sulked for a few years. But even after all this time, this 3-odd years since I drew the last Adam and Eve, even now after all this time, I still get the odd email from people asking if I'd start it back up again. And I always I kind of like sigh and think, I don't know, maybe I will. I don't know what circumstances, under what circumstances I would do it, but I guess never say never. Incidentally, I know we've gone past it, but in the middle section, the panels there, they were always the same. It was always a close-up. I think maybe like once or twice I didn't do that. It was always a close-up of whoever was in the strip, either Adam and Eve, Adam and the snake and the bear and Adam, and so on and so forth. And it was an idea that, I don't know, maybe I did it one day, I'm not sure. But Steph, aka the Kalashnikov kid, you haven't heard that for a while, have you? Yeah, she said she liked the idea of these 2 close-ups. It kind of helped break up the comic strip, and I agreed with her. So I just carried it on, and it became one of the things, I guess, that made Adam and Eve stand out. What would the word be? It would be like its corporate image, if the online comic strip could have such a thing. But I kind of quite like that, so I stuck with it. So cheers, Steph. That was a good one, a very good one. But I think over the years I've played with maybe a few different formats for Adam and Eve. I've always loved the comic strip, but it really did take it out of me when I guess Facebook allowed to happen what happened. But I never quite gave up with the characters because, as I said right at the beginning, Adam and Eve was quite possibly the most complete comic strip I ever produced. And I tried it as a greeting card. That didn't seem to work out very well in my own mind. When I looked at it, I thought, I don't know, it doesn't maybe work very well as a greeting card. Then I tried it as a bande dessinée. You know, like it would be a comic page joke, a bit like I did with the Winston video a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, sorry, when I was sending stuff out to France. It's just one joke. It takes place over an entire comics page. So it's a joke over, rather than 3 panels, it's over, well, I'd say probably anything between 8 to 14 panels. So that gave me a little bit more. I guess it would be a kind of a Sunday page, only in the European style rather than the newspaper style. I quite like that. Another idea I had was to produce Adam and Eve as an actual physical comic. I don't know whether it would be a monthly or a bi-monthly or a quarterly, I don't know. But I quite like the idea of that. But it wouldn't be like, should we say, like a great complicated storyline. It's just literally Adam and Eve and their day-to-day doings. Because when I created the comic strip, I quite liked the fact that it was the beginning of time. Everything was fresh, everything was new. Every day was filled with possibilities and hopes, just like our own days are. But as the day progresses, things happen, problems occur, we have to deal with them. And often it's just good to get the day over and done with so you can start again and try and sort of get a grip on it, because life is quite hard like that. But for these numpties, it's every day is fresh. There's no one else around, it's just them. They haven't got to worry about another country or what someone's going to say about them on social media or a problem at work with workmates. It's just all about just the few of them getting by. They still make mistakes. They still mess up big time. But that was the kind of feel that I tried to get in with the comic, and I'd like to produce that in story form in the comic. So we'll be going now. I'll be leaving you now. I'll obviously speed up the inking bits, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time. And I'll leave you now. There'll be a quick advert for the Adam and Eve books coming in. After this, obviously, I'm not going to miss an opportunity like that. So yeah, thank you very, very much for your time, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next video. Not too sure what that one's going to be about. It might be something I'm calling either the 5-minute challenge, or the 10-minute challenge. That sounds fun, doesn't it? So we'll have a look at that next time. In the meantime, thanks very much. See you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye for now. Adam and Eve was quite possibly my most complete comic strip. And I loved every second of the writing, penciling, and inking of it. The gags just wrote themselves. All I had to do was come up with a theme and let the numpties in the Garden of Eden deal with it in their own inimitable little way. And these 2 books are just crammed full of their antics. I eventually released 2 volumes of their adventures, and both are available from my Amazon store. Universal links for both books are in the description below. So if you like a comic strip about a small community of characters just coming to grips with the dawn of everything and each other, mixed in with a lot of big-ass jokes, incompetent fishing tales, cooking disasters, dreamology gone wrong, Zen exposed, and silliness on a biblical scale, then this is not only the book or books for you, but also a great way of supporting this channel and enabling me to do even more of this kind of stuff. So I'd like to thank in advance all of those of you who rush out and buy one or both of these books, or place them front and center on your Christmas and birthday lists. Thank you. Right, back to the video. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that. That must be the first Adam and Eve cartoon in over 3 years, I'd say. And if you did enjoy it, then I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy this extra bit. I mentioned earlier on that I wrote a story in which Adam did the holiday cover for Snoopy and sat in on the regular Peanuts gang. So here, for your delectation and perusal no less, is the whole story arc. So enjoy, my friends, enjoy.